multi-step equations with variables on both sides. So you can see that we're going to be building off of multi-step equations from the last section, and that's going to also include an extra step, moving everything with a variable attached to it over to one side, and then moving everything without a variable over to another side. Then we're going to be able to undo these things, and it'll look like a two-step equation, one-step equation. Let's take a look some. So you can see we have variables on both sides, hence the name, multi-step equations with variables on both sides. So you can see that there is a 5A and there is a 4A on the right. Okay, I like to start with the variable that has the lowest value so I can avoid negatives with my variable. So that means to get rid of a positive 4A, I can subtract 4A from this side. As long as I do it to the other side, everything's okay. 5A minus 4A is A. Bring down that negative 3 plus, and you can see that there is a negative 10 still remaining on the right side. Now you can see that I still have something over on the left side with my variable, right? There's not variables on both sides anymore, but I do have numbers on both sides. What I want to do is I want to move that number over to the other side and have A by itself. The name of the game when solving equations is get the variable by itself. So how do I get rid of 3 negatives? Well, I can use 3 positives to create a 0 pair. As long as I do it to both sides, everything's fine. That goes to 0. We're left with A equals negative 10 plus 3 is negative 7. Definitely encourage you to put the answer that you have for A back into the original problem and simplify both sides. Solve both sides, and if they're equal, then you know your answer is correct. You can see the difficulty of the problem is increasing. Looks like we've got some like terms before we're going to start shuffling anything around. Let's go ahead and highlight those like terms. There's a 6n and a negative 8n. Let's just circle them with their signs. Positive 6n, negative 8n. Going to again combine those. 6 plus negative 8 is negative 2n plus 8 plus 15 equals 1 minus 4n. Now, I do everything one step at a time. I'm not going to do multiple steps because whenever I make a mistake, it's easier for me to go back and see where I made a mistake. And if I'm taking one thing at a time and simplifying, it makes it easier to identify and do an error analysis. So we have more like terms, the plus 8 and the plus 15. So I'm going to circle those with their signs. Positive 8 combined with combining like terms, positive 15 will give you 23. So negative 2n plus 23 equals what's on the other side. So this is what makes it a multi-step equation, again, is that it's not just necessarily doing inverse operations. We have to actually organize our work, which is why I'm trying to do everything one step at a time. Now we know that we need to get all the variables over to one side, and we need to get all the numbers over to the other side. I always start with the least value variable. Right now, that's a positive 4n and a negative 2n. Negative 2n is less than 4n. So in order to do that, I'm going to add 2n. That's going to create a 0 pair there. As long as I do it to both sides, everything's fine. So 4n plus 2n is 6n minus 1 equals 23. Cool, this is starting to look like a normal problem. To get rid of minus 1, I'm going to do plus 1. 6n equals 24. A number next to a letter means multiply. Inverse of multiplication is division. I'm going to divide by 6. N equals 4. So you can see these are only going to get more complicated. So having a routine, having a pattern to follow, being organized with your work pays off. Let's take a look at the last one. You can see that there is distributive property in there. Let's go ahead and just highlight that. That negative 8 is going to be distributed to everything in there. I'm going to go ahead and just slash and dash this, get a plus negative 8. Now I'm going to distribute this negative 8 to negative x and to positive 7. I'm going to rewrite the problem. 7x. Okay, so negative 8 times a negative 1x is a positive 8x. Negative 8 times 7 is a negative 56. So now let's take a look and see if there's anything else we can do. Distributive properties taken care of. Do you see any like terms? 7x and a positive 8x. I'm just going to go ahead and circle those. It's a positive 7x and a positive 8x. I'm going to combine those, giving me 15x minus 56. Negative 16 plus 7x. Okay, now we're down to just a multi-step equation with variables and numbers on both sides. Cool. I'm going to pick the number associated with the variable that has the lowest value. So right now we're dealing with a 15x and a positive 7x, which would be 7x would be less. So I'm going to get rid of that. As long as I do it to both sides, everything's okay. Create a zero pair right there. 15 minus 7 is 8. So 8x minus 56 equals negative 16. Then we know that we have to move. This looks like just a regular two-step equation now. So plus 56 plus 56. That'll create a zero pair there. We have 8x equals 40. We know a number next to a letter means multiply. Opposite of multiplying by 8 would be dividing by 8. 8 divided by 8 is 1. X equals 5.